Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday. I'm gonna continue talking about the EEOC's strategic enforcement plan for 2017 through 2021. Basically, the next 5 years there, uh, and I can't do math. 4 years, so um, 18, 19, 20, 21. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, uh, We've already talked about the first three: eliminating barriers in recruitment and hiring, protecting vulnerable workers, and addressing selected emerging and developing issues. And that number three was the big one there. I'm going to cover numbers 4 and 5 right now because they're very, very basic. Number 4 is ensuring equal pay protections for all workers. And number 5 is preserving access to the legal system. And when our general counsel and I, Tony Carrozza with Carrozza Law, were speaking for a group earlier this month, early in November, it was funny. We went over this prior and got to points 4 and 5, and he had commented that, well, if employers aren't going to do 4 and 5, there's no helping them with anything else, because you've basically got to ensure equal pay protections no matter what under the EEOC, and again, preserving access to the legal system. If you put up barriers or bar access from your employees, through intimidation or other practices, to get legal help for any type of claims they feel they may have, you're going to have a big problem as an employer. But looking at number 4 real quick, in this area, the EEOC, it's pretty much going to be business as usual for them. It is, with the exception, of course, that they plan to focus on, let me read this, focus on compensation systems and practices that discriminate based on protected basis, on any protected basis. There's going to be a heavy, heavy focus on that. Again, and there's a reason for this. 2016 showed an enormous amount of recovery, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And then number 5, preserving access to the legal system. This area of enforcement is going to focus on overly broad waivers, releases, any type of mandatory arbitration provisions in employment agreements and policies, employee handbooks, employee policy, core policy handbooks. You want to make sure that everything you have in your policy handbook or your employment agreements are not overly broad, are not restrictive, and also, they're going to watch for an employer's failure to maintain and retain applicant and employee data. They're really looking for that data retention now. And additionally, they're going to be looking at retaliatory practices that effectively dissuade others in the workplace from exercising their rights. Again, any type of practice that prevents or dissuades an employer or an applicant from exercising their rights under the EEOC. Under these two topics, you simply just don't want to go there as an employer. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why we're seeing this as so incredibly important. And what we're going to do is, I'm just going to minimize something here real quick and go right back up. The EEOC actually just published their Performance and Accountability Report for the fiscal year of 2016. Now, this is a report, the PDF, you can go download it right from the EEOC site, read all through it. If you're really into this kind of stuff, you might find it fun and interesting reading. You can see where every amount of their budget went. They spent, I think, a hair over $380 million last year. They have to account for all that. And the big push on this, though, is the fact that they're showing what they've been able to recover for victims. In fact, they have a section on page 34 of their PDF of that report. There's a little section titled Recovery for Victims of Discrimination. And it starts out, I'm just reading right from this report, and again, you can go online, download this, take a look at it yourself. But EEOC secured more than $482.1 million for victims of discrimination in private, state, and local government and federal workplaces. Excuse me, sorry about that. Now, that actually included 52.2 million in litigation, so going to court, litigating things out. 82 million recovered from federal employees, or I'm sorry, recovered for federal employees and applicants. That's 82 million for federal employee applicants. That means 347.9 million was recovered for victims of employment discrimination in private sector, state, and local government workplaces through mediation. I'm reading this right from their report. Mediation, conciliation, and settlements. 347.9 million. All of this, the grand total, 482.1 million for the fiscal year of 2016, recovered for reports of discrimination. Now, in this, in their report, they go on to talk about the fact that in 2016, they fielded through the 800 number report line 585,000 calls. 585,000 calls. Additionally, there were 160,000 reported inquiries to EEOC field offices, and of all that, 91,503 charges were filed. 91,503 charges were filed with the EEOC that they had to pursue in 2016. It's a lot going on there, and it would seem in this day and age, most people would be way beyond this whole discriminatory act thing in hiring and employment practices. Obviously not. We obviously aren't there yet. So be mindful of these things. Again, that was from the report, the performance and I can't say this, can't talk this morning. Haven't had all my coffee yet this morning. Performance and accountability report for fiscal year 2016 from the EEOC. So prepare yourselves and make sure that you're ready to deal with the EEOC strategic enforcement plan that we've been talking about. We'll have one more item, item 6, and we'll get to that next week. Meanwhile, have a great week, and if you need help with these or any other HR issues, you know who to call. I'm Peter Galt with Galt Staffing. Thanks, and take care.